everyone once again. Right, so today is our posting study on the consciousness, and there's some new materials we're presenting, and you're the first people to hear this. So in this connection, I printed about, I think, 16 pages of revisions. This is, first of all, the diagram. The diagram is on page 17. So if you like, you can cut out and paste over the old diagram. Please cancel out the old diagram because there's some updates I will explain in a while. This is the diagram in case those of you watching the video. And then the rest, section 12, is right to the end. Okay? Vijnana is one topic which is really difficult. It is still, in many ways, a kind of pioneer stage for the English-speaking Buddhists, where we're looking for the words to explain many of these wonderful ideas, amazing ideas talking about the nature of the mind. I mean, this is the last frontier for modern science, consciousness. Because now they've got the instruments to measure brain waves, if you like, the processes of the mind, things like that. So it is useful to get the right, or at least helpful English words. It's very important to remember early Buddhism. In terms of language, the Buddha did just opposite of what the Brahmins taught and did. To the Brahmins, the word is the thing. The word is the thing. Meaning that you have to chant all those Vedic verses exactly. You chant one syllable out, the ceremony is invalid, that kind of idea. Very ritualistic. So you can imagine with that kind of understanding, it really empowered the Brahmins, They were like concert performers, They were like these super pop stars, You can sing, chant, performers. Of course, you can see this happening today in Buddhism. Much of Buddhism has been Brahminized. The monks have become priests effectively, and so on. So we're going back to where the Buddha came from before that, So to the Buddha, he says, no, it's not the word. After all, what is language? Language changes, sounds change. So I don't know whether he purposely did it or it is simply out of necessity. It is a rule in the suttas. You find there's no rule where words are concerned. But again, it's not anarchy here. There is a system in the freedom of words, which the Buddha uses in the text. The most famous, of course, are the three words in your diagram here. You can see on the board here. Citta, Mano, Vijnana. These are generally synonyms. And yet, in some places, we need to see the context. These three words explain certain processes, or the emphasis is on certain processes. So this is where you begin to distinguish the good sutta student and the poor sutta student. Those who really pay careful attention to the meaning, not just the words. You can be an expert in the words, but the meaning is another matter. And nowadays, one of the interesting things about reading all these modern analyses of Buddhist texts is that you find these scholars, they're very sharp, they're very careful in their philological analysis. Philological means a study of the language, how the language developed, the spelling, the formation of words, things like that. And they can tell you, whether this word is wrong or this should have been the right word. They can tell you the history of the word behind it and so on. So these disciplines are very useful in helping us, in a sense, to retrace the original text. And there are some scholars who specialize in this. I'm reading someone, a new scholar called, a young scholar called Brian Lefton. He seems to specialize in all these language difficulties in Pali. For example, the time when the Buddha declared, the great hesitation, the Buddha is not sure whether he's going to teach or not. And there's one line there which says, Pamunchattu Santa. We can translate this really as let them free their faith. Because this Pamunchattu comes from the word to liberate. Okay? So what does it mean here? So it's quite vague, or rather polysemous. Polysemous means different meanings. So we can translate different ways. Liberate your faith, free your faith, let go of your faith. In other words, let go of the old way of thinking, things like that. And to make matters worse, when you check this famous passage from the Great Recitation in the different traditions, in the Tibetan tradition, Lalita Vistara, in the Mahavastu, in other words, the records of the other schools, each of them have a different word. They couldn't make up. They couldn't make up this word. They couldn't decide. And some of them change other words in the verse also. However, scholars who did a deep study of this culture says that the oldest probably is still the Pali, and that gives the closest possible meaning. Okay? And there are other cases like such words where the words are polysemous. But once you understand the Buddhist three trainings, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, especially meditation, such polysemous words, multiple meaning words, they don't pose a problem already. But of course I won't go on about this today. We're talking about consciousness. So these three words, they overlap. They have the same meaning, but they also have specific meanings, if you like. So this is what we will deal with today in this closing study on consciousness. Take for example this diagram. Let's look at this diagram first. There are some changes in the terminology. This is one of those things that really troubled me. I was trying to get this exact English word, trying to get the best one. There is no best one actually, so you can get the better one if you like, to describe certain mental processes so that we can talk meaningfully how the mind works. This is no easy task because you can be sure sooner or later some fellow will say, oh, I got a better list of terminology, and he could be well right. Because all the words can be used. So what I've done here is, I have shown how the words should be used, and how the words were used in the suttas, not so much as in terms of words, as in terms of context. So we have two things here. One is called the text, the other is the context. Many people forget the context. Text means the verse, like you chant, you just chant something, but without knowing the meaning. See? The context. What is the story behind this text? What is this text telling us? And so on. Even simple verses we chant like just now, we say Tipiso Bhagava Arahant and so on. Well, what do they mean? So we have to reflect on all those. So here a new word has been introduced here. If you look at the doctrine, you can see cognitive consciousness. So we have cognitive consciousness, existential consciousness. These two terms are quite old. They've been around, say, from the, I suppose, the 50s, 1950s. That's about my age, about 60 to 70 years. So this word cognitive consciousness, I don't think has been used. So you are the first people in public to hear this term, I think. And but here the word, I think this word is useful because cognitive means intention, intentional. So it is chitta refers to right now the one, the mind, your mind, which is thinking, listening to me, paying attention. The mind which decides to put up the hand and ask a question. The mind that is pre-conscious. And maybe you're listening to me and say, oh yeah, I understand this, or this part I don't understand. Or later I'm going to ask this question, but you know the mind is going on, that the process is going on. That's the pre-conscious mind. Okay? So you got in your diagram, you see it as the pre-conscious mind. Here I use the word cognitive. Right? Then, what's going on with your five senses? Right now, as you see, you say, wow, this chair is a bit hard, or the air is nice, things like that. The five senses, that would be vijnana, cognitive consciousness. The consciousness that analyzes what's going on around us, especially in the physical way. Right? And if you like, you might say, that's the body, if you like. It's our body, especially the five senses. Of course, although you say the body here, we're talking about the conscious body. Always remember that in Buddhism we say savinyana kaya, the conscious body. Because without the mind, you can't experience the body anyway. Alright, so these two are not too difficult to understand, the mind, the body, right? Then you have the middle term, mano. Okay? So this is, from my understanding in modern religious dialogue, to help us understand meditation, psychology better, we can use this, you can use the term existential consciousness. Existential meaning got to do with life and death, your existence, right? So this term covers things like rebirth consciousness, latent tendencies, things you're not aware of, right? So you have the subconscious here. Subconscious is the, what you call, what is reborn? Okay, rebirth consciousness, if you like. So here I've used the word subconscious, because it's below your consciousness. The unconscious is here right now with you, but you're not aware of what's going on. Of course, there's a problem here, you see, because the word latent tendency is under the word unconscious, and you can see that. Unconscious. So, the unconscious and the subconscious are both in the middle category under the term mano. So mano is very kind of, it is quite specific, but quite a bit complicated. Some important terms are there. Right? Now this is by way of introduction. Don't worry if you wonder what I'm talking about. I'll be elaborating the rest of the study. Oh, you hear this a lot in the university classes.
I think it's helpful if you give examples of
yes, I will.
conscious, subconscious, then we can visualize it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't even understand the word of cognitive.
Okay, cognitive, intentional, or willful. Yeah, the part of us that say, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. That's the cognitive consciousness. Cognitive means something to do with intention, with the will, with deliberation. Cognitive means your senses, how you know things, how you cognize things. And existential means how you exist, life, death. Okay? Anyway, they are all written here. I'll point to you the section in a while. Yes, quite careful when you hear all these new words and wonder what they all mean. So I will show you the sections as we go along. Alright, so let's turn to section 12 now. This is in your new, section 10 first, before that. We'll still a bit more to finish. Section 10. On page 35. Vijnana and karma. Okay, let's begin with something easy first. I've given you a bit of overview. Now we can more or less like go back to basics a bit. How is vijnana, consciousness, and karma related? Well, they are in a sense the same thing. And as I told you, the Buddha uses words in different ways to explain different aspects of our being. If you talk about events in your life, you call that consciousness. And if you talk about how they act upon you in terms of action, reaction, we use the word karma. Right? And what is happening in karma is your consciousness in action, isn't it? So, in other words, who are the actors in this coming stage? It's consciousness. If I suffer, what is it that suffer? What is this I, so-called I that suffer? It's like eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And in all this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, there must be consciousness. These are called the 6 kinds of consciousness. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and mind consciousness. These are the 6 consciousnesses. This is where karma takes place, so to speak. Right? So, I hope with this, up to this point you have some idea, right? Consciousness and karma, how they're related. Okay? Karma is our living situation, if you like. Consciousness is our living situation. Karma is the action-reaction that we experience. Now, if again, remember the 5 aggregates, you have form is the body, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, right? Now, just take consciousness by itself, because today we're talking about consciousness. Consciousness by itself, and we have the other four. Form, feeling, perception, formations. These are the four other aggregates that make what we are. These four, form, feeling, perception, formation, they are called, each of them is called the house or the home of consciousness. This is one thing you must be pleased to remember. Okay? The home of consciousness. Here the word home is oka. Okay, special interesting term, oka. There are many words for house, by the way. Here, oka of the consciousness. In other words, consciousness abides in all these four other aggregates. Consciousness abides in the body. Our body right now is conscious. Savinyana kaya. The conscious body. Kaya means body. Savinyanaka means with consciousness. All right? All these words are here. If you look at all them. Yeah? Now, when we talk about the conscious body, what is it that is conscious? It's the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, the six senses. So these are, when you say body, it's a shorthand for the six senses. Okay? So there is this consciousness behind the body or in the body, if you like. That's form. Okay? Then feeling, since you have a body, there is feeling. There must be consciousness for feeling to arise. Right? In other words, when the eye sees something, there is eye consciousness and there is attention, there is eye contact, you experience something you like or don't like, because of this feeling arises. Right? So the consciousness there is the attention. So there is consciousness behind your feeling. Then perception. Perception is how you recognize things. Again, you need consciousness there. And then you act on it. There is this karma going on. That is called formations. Okay? So those are the four homes or houses of consciousness. Consciousness is behind all this activity. And in that sense, we can also say this, the commentaries call this karmic consciousness. Karmic consciousness. This is the consciousness that allows karma to play with our lives, so to speak. And once we understand this, then we can understand that there is this consciousness which is in this present life, with which we know things. We call that cognitive consciousness. Cognitive, from the word cognize, meaning to know. It's a big word, meaning to know. We know things through our senses. There are 6 kinds of knowledges. Knowledges through seeing, visual knowledge. Knowledge through hearing, auditory knowledge. Knowledge of smell, knowledge of taste, knowledge of touches. And of course, mental knowledge, or thinking, ideas. Right? So these are the 6 kinds of knowledges. The 6 senses also are the 6 sources of knowledge. And that's all there is to know, all that we can know. Right? So this is in the present life, so to speak. Okay? Then you can also say that this consciousness goes across time. This consciousness is reborn, next life, and so on. So in other words, what is reborn here is karma, if you like. So it's the middle, the shape looking like an eye. See? Existential consciousness is reborn. Okay? So it is important to understand, to be responsible for ourselves by understanding nature of karma. So here you have a verse from the Majjhima on page 35. This is one of those rare occasions where you see the personal pronoun I being used. This is a very important reflection to be done regularly. In the sutta called the sutta to be reflected every day. I am the owner of my deeds, the heir to my deeds, the womb of my deeds, the relative of my deeds. My deeds are my refuge. Whatever deed I do, good or bad, I will be its heir. You got it? Page 35? page 35 at the bottom. All right. So here, in other words, we own nothing except our karma. We are our karma. Not that own in the sense of possession. It's just here again you see the language is simply conventional language. It's not so much you have karma, you are your karma, right? That we often say, oh, you know, I have bad karma and I don't seem to be able to find a good job and so on and so forth. That's not necessarily correct because karma is not something we have. Karma is something we are. If you're not happy, you might say, yeah, that's karma. But you can also change it. So it's not predestination. Okay? So that's a bit of just a few comments. And how does karma bring us suffering? When it's rooted in a delusion. And this fact is very useful because once we know this, that means the opposite will bring us happiness. So if we direct our minds towards non-greed, non-delusion, we're going to free ourselves from suffering. And that's what we do in Buddhist counseling. We learn skills of bringing our mind from the mud and depths of the three unwholesome roots to the higher level of the wholesome roots, using the four Brahma Viharas and so on. I mean the four divine abodes with metta, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So in order to bring from the state of darkness, unhappiness to a level of happiness, then we can change karma. Here again, we can control karma, we can change our karma, we can limit our karma so that it doesn't follow us like a shadow by practicing loving kindness. Constantly reflecting on loving kindness. When people show us anger, we respond with loving kindness. Once you do that, the karma is weakened. A lot of people don't know this. Or if they hear this, they say, oh, I don't think this will work. How can you be nice to people or bad to you? They start rationalizing, and they have heard some higher teaching, some big empowerment stuff, So all these simple words of the Buddha doesn't seem to touch their awareness. This is called hardness of the heart. Hardness of the heart. We have to be very careful not to harden our hearts with views. This is what prevents us from awakening our views. So in other words, as Buddhists, our purpose in life is, number one, to understand things. Number two is to clear away, to let go of the understanding. Once you understand it, you don't need to re-understand it, so to speak, So, of course, this is easier said than experienced. In other words, take a simple example. When you meditate, you find a lot of thoughts, you can never focus. Thinking is the enemy of meditation, right? Not now, now you must think. So we're studying, okay? But when you meditate, you have to let go of your thoughts, right? It's just like a surgeon, when he's cutting out someone, he needs all the instruments, But once the surgery has been done, the person is all stood up, so you've got to make sure that the instruments are all kept away, you don't need them anymore. See? The Buddha uses the parable of the raft. So in meditation, you let go of all the thoughts, you clear your mind. But you must have something to clear, right? There's some people, they start meditating, they say, I don't know what to do, because you have not learned the method. So this is where one of those famous Buddhist psychologists wrote a very interesting article. It says, you have to be somebody before you can be nobody, right? I mean, anybody in the street can say, I'm a nobody, and no one cares, But with the Dalai Lama or someone very powerful in Buddhism say, I'm a nobody, you say, wow. Why? Because it's people who are already somebody, If they say I'm a nobody, you begin to wonder, is there something discordant here, The meaning is this. In order to understand Buddhism, you've got to begin with some kind of theoretical knowledge, some views, yes, right views at least. You can say to be a Buddhist, number one is to clear away wrong views, number two is to cultivate right views, number three is to get rid of right views also. But that third part, you have to be careful. Some people claim you have to reach the third part without even stepping on the first part. Then the best word for such people are clowns. Because then you begin to laugh at them after you know the restoration. So again, it's not quite simple. Again, go back to the meditation example. No? When you meditate, you got to clear away your thoughts, at least temporarily. Then peace comes to you. Your mind feels peaceful. It's just like you have defragged your computer. You have cleaned up the computer, you remove all those unnecessary programs, and you find, oh, it's running very nice and fast. When you come up with meditation, your mind is clear. Okay, so that's a simple example of how views can distract us. So, consciousness, in other words, is something evolving, something changing, something dynamic. It never remains the same thing for a moment. And this idea is very important. So when we say that the consciousness is what is reborn, we must remember this consciousness also changes like electricity, is changing all the time. Now you have a problem, you see. If we talk of consciousness in that way, in other words, every moment we're a new person. Do you know what is the significance or implication here if everyone is a new person or we are a different person? Anyone?
We're not the same.
You're not the same. It means, yes?
There is no continuity, and then we have to learn things anew again and again.
Well, yeah, that's one possibility. But it's not too bad. So we're doing anyway. Every life we're learning again. Every life we're going to a new school, right? I once saw a show, someone said, I don't think I want to be reborn. Because if I go to be reborn, I have to go to school again. What a dreadful thought. you know? So, yes, that's true. But there's something even more dreadful than that. If that were the case, then I'm not responsible for any actions I've done in the past. If I rob a bank, I say, no, that's not me, that's in the past. I'm a different person now. You see? It's a very serious moral problem. So, of course, we didn't say that in Buddhism. We didn't say you are a new person, full stop. The Buddha says, yes, this thought consciousness, this mind is changing all the time. But there is this continuity. It is called memory. It's called memory. And this is what links us, and we are defined as a person. So this word person is a big deal. You have the legal definition of a person. I mean, you have lawyers, ex-lawyers here. You have, for example, a company can be defined as a person. But in Buddhism also, there is a definition of person. So this consciousness, which is, each one is different, at the same time there's this continuity, and that's what makes a person. I can remember myself, because if I forget my name, I'm not a person anymore. Meaning, I won't be able to communicate with you, I can't own things, basic things like that. So, having said that, we come to a very interesting problem in language. That means what we effectively can say is we are both the same yet not the same. Not just so, not just anyo. Okay, it's a very nice sentence. Na means no. Cha here is emphasis. It usually means and, but here uses emphasis. Not just so. So it's just like English so, It means that. Not just so. It's neither so, not just so. I can write one line by writing two lines easier for you. So here is where you can use the English neither nor. Neither is, no, not is, or here it also can be different, others. Neither the same nor different. Neither is nor not is. Neither exists nor not exists. You can translate three different ways. In other words, is and not is can exist. Archimedes was turning his grave. Because Archimedes said not possible. Either something is or it's not, full stop, and then you have the whole of Western mathematics built on that, binary system, computers. I once asked a mathematics professor about this, he says, wow, if you use this Indian system, where you have four possibilities of reality, is not, both is and is not, neither is nor is not, the whole mathematical system will collapse. As we have it. Of course, this is the Indian philosophical system, where we say there are four possible situations. So here's one of them. I'll give you a simple example. you have a photograph of yourself when you were 3 years old, 20 years old, and then now, okay? So you tell your friend, hey, look, that's me when I was 3, that's me when I was 20. You use the word was. You can still use the word is, narrative, present, no problem. But then your friend will say, doesn't look like you at all. Right? Say, well, that's me, you say. So, if that's you, who's this? Right? So, you are the same, because that's me, my photo. Someone took a picture of me. But it's different in time, different in shape, right? The same yet not the same. So this sentence does apply, it's meaningful. It's trying to show us the complexity of reality of existence. So this, you need to reflect on this a bit. Is this clear enough for you, this idea of is and not is, yeah? When we expect to talk about our consciousness and how we remember our existence. So, in other words, we can be reborn in different realms, right? Our consciousness take the shape of our behavior. As we behave, as we think, so we will become what we think. So here you have, to simplify things, there are 5 realms. You can see the picture on page 37. Right at the top, or at 1 o'clock you see, I hope you can see this picture clearly enough, figure 11.1 on the left hand side. On the internet, this picture is in color. This one is black and white. This, I think, is a Thai drawing. This is the Thai adaptation of the 6 realms. Okay, the Mahayana system. So this is a modern Thai art. At 1 o'clock, you see the Devas. And then at 4 o'clock, you see the Pretas, Preta world. And then 6 o'clock, hell realms. And then 7, human realm. What's that? Animal realm, sorry, animal realm. And then at 11 o'clock, human realm. So this is the original 5 realms, Panchagati. So, we are born with a human body because of our past good karma and the way our minds were positive when we passed away previously. And then we have human parents. They gave birth to us, they gave us a human body. And we are grateful to them because what they did during the first 7 years of our lives. Not only they gave us a human body, they also humanized us. Parents can give birth to human children, but they might not humanize the child. Let's say the child got left in the jungle and raised by wolves or apes. Well, then the child behaved just like those animals. Okay, let's say now you have this child grown up into a man, and he's a very violent person, goes around killing people, living violent life. So his mind is basically that of a hell being. Body human, but mind hell being. So he dies. The human body runs out of date, ROD. But what remains? The consciousness is that of a hell being, violent. All that he knows is violence. Take a drug addict. He only knows, only thinks of the next fix. Human body, but mind of a preta. So when the body runs out of date, the body dies. What is left is the mind of a preta. So it becomes a preta. This mind continues as a preta. So this is a simple explanation of rebirth. So you can see this consciousness represented in the inner hub. Can you see the semicircle white and the other semicircle black in the same diagram? Yeah? I don't know whether you can see this in the video or not. Okay? So, on the white hub, which is on the right, can you see that? Clear enough? Yeah? Page 37. Yeah? You have what is called karmic ascent, or conscious evolution, if you like, Samvatanika. The consciousness is evolving. So this white side, you see these beings ascending, they're becoming more divine, so to speak. So that the karmas are becoming better, so they are becoming devas and so on. And then on the dark half is these beings are going down, devolving. Vivatanika. They're becoming hungry ghosts and all these suffering beings, so they're going down. So it goes round and round in a circle. So this consciousness changes, defines us, so to speak. Alright? You can see the sixth round on the right hand side. Alright? Any questions on this? Clear enough so far?
Is a consciousness permanent?
Is there anything permanent in this world? Anything permanent? No. So what's the answer? Everything is.
When the body dies, then consciousness will take another form.
Yeah, so if it takes another form, is it permanent or impermanent? It's permanent, right? So nothing in this world can be permanent. Okay? Everything is changing all the time. Let us remember that. It's the most basic thing we need to know. Right? But be careful, don't ask these questions on these teachers, they get very upset. This kind of question. So is there something permanent? I say, what? Have you not been studying Buddhism? I know some teachers are very upset when we ask things like that. You know? But these are very important questions because we've got to remind ourselves, is there anything permanent in our lives? I mean, you look around, we may say, oh, maybe the soul. But that's because you have the concept of soul, you know. But a concept is an idea. What is reborn is the consciousness, yes, the middle one is existential consciousness. But then imagine, like electricity, you know? Okay? It's a very good analogy. Electricity, can you see electricity, but pure electricity you can't, right? So consciousness also like that, you can't really see it, so-called pure consciousness, if there's such a thing. But when this electricity is run through a bulb, you get light. When the same electricity is run through this camera, you get pictures, visual, right? When it's run through a fan, this solenoid, whatever this electromagnetic thing, it turns the fan, you get wind. You put it through a fridge, you get cold. But it's electricity. So this electricity assumes different forms. So this consciousness like electricity assuming different forms, human being, pretas, animals. So you get the idea now? It's changing. And even as human beings, we are changing all the time. Yeah, we appear not to be changing right now, you know, as we sit here, but besides my movement, I'm also moving, but my body also is changing. Everything is changing. My mind, the mind is the fastest, you know, changing. We don't notice it because it's so fast. So everything is changing in that sense. Of course, we can say Nirvana doesn't change, but let's leave Nirvana out for the moment, okay? So whatever exists in this universe changes. Remember that, yes, huh? Now, so this consciousness, we talk about different beings, okay? The Buddha goes into details. He talks about 7 kinds of consciousness and 2 spheres. Now, this is another kind of classification of beings. Look at page 38 now. The stations of consciousness. 11.2.3. Okay? You have beings different in body, different in perception. So one kind of beings, or species if you like, or group of species, they have different bodies, like you and I, we have different bodies. And our perception also different. We have different ideas also. We don't share the same mind. Okay, so human beings is one example. The gods of the sense world also. In fact, many of these other beings like animals also be included here. And then number 2, you have beings different in body but same in perception. Body different, but they are the mind is the same. Let me correct myself. So here, example will be animal world. Animal world, you find there are different bodies, right? You have cats, different kinds of cats, and then different kinds of animals. But their perception is the same. They all have fear. Their behavior is predictable, so we can catch them, train them even. And then the hell beings, they have different bodies, but same consciousness, suffering. The pretas also, different body, but same. They have this addiction, addictive kind of suffering. So, different bodies, same experience. Yeah? Then number 3, beings same in body, different in perception. Same in body. That means it's like they share the same realm, one body, okay? But you have different minds. You've got to imagine this a bit. Can you imagine? In other words, they don't have a physical body. But these are in the higher realms, form realm, formless realm. They don't have a physical body, but they have the same minds. Same body, different perceptions. In other words, same body, different mind. Abhasara devas. Different perception. Same body, different perception. Same body, but their experience of joy is different. Right? Then 4, same in body, same in perception.
Sorry.
Yes?
Well, formless realm, no body.
Sorry, this is the form.
No, no.
Abhasara. Number 3 is form, not formless. Form realm. Yeah?
It's formless.
Yeah, form realm. Thank you for correcting. Okay. This is on page 38, section 11.2.3.
So where's the form realm on the view?
Number 4 is form realm. Number 3 and 4. Being same in body, same in perception.
3 and 4 being asura demons?
No, they're not. No, these brackets 3, brackets 4. Section 11.2.3. I'm reading brackets 4 now. Being same in body, same in perception. For example, the Vihapala Devas. So here, they share the same body, so to speak, and they all enjoy the same kind of consciousness, joy, okay, deep joy. And then you've got the formless, okay, 5 and 6, 7, okay, the formless realms. So infinity, the sphere of infinity of space, the sphere of infinity of consciousness, the sphere of nothingness. Okay, so this is the all separate stations of consciousness. Okay. In other words, here the Buddha is talking about how the consciousness behaves. And then the last 2, 8 and 9, they are not stations of consciousness. These are very special realms. The sphere of non-percipient beings. These are the non-conscious beings, or unconscious beings if you like. These are very rare, unique realm where these beings, they have no consciousness. It has been suspended. They go into deep jhana and then they die. So there's no mental activity. But the moment the thought arises in their mind, they fall in that state. Of course, not many people would like to be reborn in this state. Nothing happens there. Very boring, so to speak. There's nobody to feel born anyway. It's just that they're not dead. It's just that there is no conscious activity. Consciousness has been suspended. And then 9, the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception is the highest of the realm possible, attainable to the Buddha's time. This is a realm where you can't say consciousness exists or not exists. Very subtle. Very subtle. It's like sometimes when you are half asleep and you're not sure you're asleep or awake, the kind of, that's the closest we can experience. Okay? So this is, the Buddha is trying to tell us that he's aware of different kinds of realms in terms of consciousness. Anyway, you can to read more about it, there are footnotes there, you can look up the cross references, for example, SD 5.17 if you like.
Can you say that 8 and 9 are beings with no consciousness?
Sort of, yeah, something like that. Their consciousness has been suspended. Not saying no consciousness, but they're not dead. They've been suspended. It's just like, we are unconscious, we got knocked out, and then we're unconscious. In a sense, our consciousness has ceased to function. The existential, the cognitive consciousness has shut down. But existential consciousness is still there.
Are 8 and 9 found on the diagram, on the picture?
No, not here. These are formless realms. Yeah, this is in the diagram of the 31 planes, yes. You can see that. If you want the 31 plane diagram, I can email you. It's online, to tell you where to locate it.
I thought if the consciousness ceased.
That's different. That's different. Cease, yes. We're talking about that in a little while. Here, it's not cease, it's rather suspended. Suspended meditation.
And this can happen to you?
It can happen to anyone.
Here now, to humans?
No, not right here. I don't think so. None of us have got that ability. You've got to go into deep meditation. Very deep meditation.
So not in our present state.
Not a normal consciousness like ours, not in a normal daily world. It's more in terms of deep meditation. You have jhanas, and then you got arupa jhanas. Okay? 4 rupa jhanas, these are the form dhyanas, and then you have the 4 formless dhyanas. So this number 9 is the last one. The sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. Okay, so this one is talking about deep meditation.
Maybe people in the coma will have no consciousness.
Yeah, that's different. But that's just simply means that the cognitive consciousness is no more functioning, but this existential consciousness is still going on. The life continuum, the different terms. So you can see in Buddhism, we accept all these situations, and it's very interesting. We do have words for them. And we sort of can understand, or at least can try to understand what they're trying to tell us, and it makes a lot of sense.
So I'm just so that I understand you say that 8 and 9,
Yeah.
we as human beings, in our form as humans,
Human beings, yes.
cannot.
No, we can. Okay, maybe I was taking your definition too closely. I mean, we here, we don't meditate to the level of formless.
But we can, as humans,
Yes,
achieve
possible.
8 and 9.
If you
That's what I
meditate,
meant.
yes.
As humans, we can
Correct.
achieve 8 and 9.
Correct.
Very good.
It's possible.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Okay, now we come to the point when, well, as you mentioned, what happens if the consciousness ceases? Well, this is another big question that the monks have been asking. What happens? Is there a place where consciousness doesn't exist? All right, so this is on page 40, right in the middle. The monk asks, where do earth, water, fire, wind find no footing? Yeah? But the Buddha said this question is not kind of properly put. Yeah? Then the Buddha says, your question should not be phrased in this way. Where do these 4 primary elements cease without remainder? Instead, it should be phrased like this. Where do earth, water, fire, wind find no footing? Here, long and short, small and great, fair and foul, name and form totally cease. Right? We can also say here, consciousness finds no footing. Finds no footing, that means it's not able to arise. Now, this statement has caused some problem. When the Buddha says that consciousness finds no footing, the Buddha means that there's no consciousness to find any footing. So there is at least one scholar who thought, what the Buddha meant was that is this consciousness, it's existing somewhere around, but that consciousness doesn't find a footing. You know what I mean? So that again is not the right idea. But then we have this idea that there is some kind of permanent consciousness floating around. I will come back to this point in a moment. Let me finish this passage first. So the Buddha says, well, there is such a situation, it's called nirvana. Okay? Nirvana, of course, is not the situation, but just to use the conventional language, when in nirvana, the 4 elements find no footing, consciousness also find no footing. In other words, consciousness does not arise, therefore suffering also does not arise. Then there's another tricky term, it's called amidasana. In the Kakachupama Sutta, the parable of the double-handed sword, the word anidasana is used. This again possible problems people who have difficulty with the non-self idea. Now anidasana, very simply put, can translate as unmanifesting or signless. It means not to be seen, cannot be seen, anidasana. The usual word for not seen is adasana, but here is anidasana. In other words, this consciousness is not something that you can see. It's not something that I can experience. It also means it cannot really be experienced by any other senses. And yet, without it, the senses cannot function. What's it about? Can we see consciousness? No, we can't. But it's functioning inside us. Okay? So, here, the idea, in other words, is we cannot place it. It has no permanent form. It's changing all the time. That's one more way of understanding it. Then you have another interesting problematic term, Sabato Paba, 11.14.4. This consciousness is said to be bright, radiant. The question I'm about to ask is, which kind of consciousness is the Buddha talking about? He's not talking about any kind of consciousness, right? We are conscious beings, but we are not emitting any light, right? However, in deep meditation, you find if you go deep to meditation, very often people will say they experience brightness, right? So in very deep meditation, jhana meditation, this brightness is really total and really brilliant, right? That is the radiant mind. It's the mind that is deep in meditation. So that's another understanding we should have. If you like, you can say that is the consciousness which is very bright. So you can say consciousness, you can say mind, okay? However, in this case, what's interesting is we do not use the word chitta. Okay? We can use mano, we can use vijnana, but not chitta. Because chitta refers to the thinking that's going on in our minds. That's why you notice our present chitta as thought. Okay? Mano is mind, vijnana can also translate as mind in this case. Now, don't give up by saying, oh dear, it doesn't mean Buddhism we can use it anywhere, anyhow we like. Not so. That is something you understand once your sutta understanding and your meditation merge. Okay? And that's what we're doing now. We are building up this understanding that goes beyond words. Okay? But don't worry, the words do have the meaning mind. So you just take the words mind. As long as you don't close your mind, you're safe. You say, okay, let's just take the word mind and look at the context. And then as you reflect on it, one day you say, oh yes, I need to understand what the word mind here means. Okay? And you think of these three terms. Okay, now we come to the new set of notes, okay? Section 12. You have these three terms. Vijnana, mano, chitta, or sometimes I put chitta, mano, vijnana. No? Very often the Buddha will use all these three terms to mean the mind in number of suttas. No? There is something interesting here. It's a bit deep, but I still feel you should be able to follow me somehow. At least understand the words first. Look at section 12.1.2.1. It's under section 12, first part. No? The seven minds. Can you see the word seven minds? In the Vibhanga is in bold letters. In the Vibhanga, for example, the seven minds, Satta Chitta, defined as, you got that? Yeah? The seven minds are eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness. Okay, these are the normal 6 kinds of consciousnesses. Right? This one very easy to remember. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. There's consciousness behind all this. Number 7 is the mind consciousness element. In other words, the mind has its own consciousness, it's aware of itself. Now, it's not difficult to understand it. Eye conscious of what? Light, shapes, right? Ear conscious of what? Sounds, vibrations. Nose conscious of smells. Body, the tongue conscious of taste. Body conscious of touches, temperature, hard, soft, things like that. The mind conscious of what? Of thoughts, right? Thoughts. So it's called mind consciousness element. Okay, let's take it like that for simple understanding. Yeah? So, like in dreams, you see, when you dream, you see things, you hear things, right? Sometimes I get ideas from my reflection and also in dreams. But where did they come from? They come from my daily experience. This has been stored in my mind, and then when I'm asleep, it started playing. Right? There's this movie director in my mind, I start putting all these things together. But it's all mental. For example, you might imagine you're in a bright place, but it's not real life, it's a dream. So it's a replay. It's a kind of a mind putting things together. Okay? So that's the 7th mind. Okay? So it's just something for you to think about for the moment. So, let's come back to these three terms. The Buddha used them as synonyms, same meaning. But as the centuries passed, Abhidharma period and later, the Buddhist philosophers begin to define them, give them deeper meaning and separate their meanings, especially in the Abhidharma kosha. Here you can see page 43, the new notes. Section 12.1.2.4, 0.5, sorry, next one. By the time of Vasubandhu, everybody there? By the time of Vasubandhu, 4th to 5th century, the meanings of these three terms, Vijnana, Mano, Citta, became more technical and well defined, as evident from the Abhidharma kosha. Okay, so this is Sanskrit. Here, Citta, Mano, Tha, Vijnana, Me, Karta. Citta, Mana, and Vijnana have the same meaning. Okay, so Vasubandhu accepts that. But then it says, Chino Titi Citta. It is called Citta because it accumulates good and bad. Citta. Right? So Citta, in other words, is our moral consciousness. Right? Manuta iti manaha. It is called manas or mano because it knows. Right? So, according to Vasubandhu, this is the learning mind, knows. Then Vijnana iti Vijnana, this is Vijnana in Sanskrit. It is called Vijnana because it distinguishes. In other words, we see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Right? We decide which of these senses is working. So this one is very detailed, going to deep philosophy, little Mahayana. Okay? You don't see this kind of very detailed difference in the sutta, not mentioned in this way anyway. You got to tease out the meaning. You look at a passage, you understand the context. We are coming to the context of our this time. So let me talk about these 3 points now. When we talk about citta, we're talking about how we think, thinking mind, if you like. And in other words, when you do meditation, we're talking about the mind. It's the mind that cultivates. So if you are cultivated in meditation, you are at peace with yourself, then you are said to be mentally cultivated. And the word here is citta bhavita. Right? And you can see next page, the words are all there for you. Look at 12.1.3.2. You can see the quotation there. Thus, through a mind that is open and unhindered, one should cultivate a mind of bright light. Now this one is a perception of light. Notice it says cultivate a mind. The word is mind, but the word is citta. So in other words, these are the thoughts. This is something we can deal with, and we want the mind to be bright. Okay? Now, you find similar usages in words like citta bhavana. Citta bhavana, mental cultivation. When you cultivate the mind, it's called citta bhavana. But in the 3 trainings, it is called samadhi sikha, right? But the meaning is the same. The mind is cultivated. And then the monks are told to cultivate adicitta. Adicitta means higher mind. Superior mind. So again, citta is used. Not mano, not vijnana. You notice that here you begin to see the difference in usage clearer. Citta means the part of your mind which can be trained. Not mano, not vijnana. Okay? But if your citta is trained, then you become more peaceful, more focused, more happy. So remember, it is the citta that can be cultivated, that needs to be cultivated. Is this clear enough? So here you begin to see the differences in the 3 terms. So in our diagram here, you can see the mind up there. So if you look at your big diagram in your book, it is also called the pre-conscious, which I already mentioned earlier at the start of today's lesson. Right? Pre-conscious, like now as you're listening to me, you say, wow, this is getting very deep. When is going to finish? Or this is very interesting. Now I understand these things better. So that you're conscious of those mind, but you're not saying it out. That's called pre-conscious. Okay? The mind that is able to pay attention. The mind is able to be cultivated, chitta. Okay? And this also is called co-native consciousness. Right now, if your attention is clear enough and you're able to piece together things you have learned from here, from there, you put them together, say, oh yes, I understand better. That's called co-native consciousness. The consciousness with intention, deliberate, this mind that is directing itself. Okay? This is something new. Okay, this term, cognitive thing, which I just, you're the first people I'm talking to about this term. Now, okay, next term, mano. Okay? So how different is mano? Mano is a term, it means mind also, but it refers to the three doors of action. Body, speech and mind, in the sense of the mind, body, speech and mind, the mind. And then the third door of our action. And it also includes the mind base, it includes the process of mental processes. What happens in your mind? For example, as you think quietly, thoughts come to your mind, why do I do this, why do I do that, without much control. And more deeply, it is this mano which is reborn. Okay, this one is my own thinking here, but I feel that we can use this term to refer to the rebirth consciousness, Patisandhicitta, also called Mandava. And this also is mind. This is the mind that is reborn. Okay? This is the consciousness that is reborn. Now here we have a problem because very often in the sutta, the word vijnana is used for rebirth. Okay? So this is where you got to just give space to your mind and say, it doesn't matter, either word can be used, but you must know the meaning of each of these words. Then you come to vijnana. Vijnana is the broadest of the three terms. It can refer to a lot of things. For example, right now, all your senses are working. That is called existential, cognitive consciousness. Rather. You cognize things, you know things, especially your five senses, okay, working together. And very often, when the Buddha says that this consciousness is unestablished, is referring to the rebirth consciousness. It doesn't find a new place to be reborn. Right?
So what is held suspended somewhere? It's not yet reborn.
It depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about a living person who is in deep meditation, the consciousness is suspended. It's just like you have put up the fire, it's not gone anywhere, but the fuel is still there, you can light it up. The Brahmin, the Vedas, Vedic thinkers say that Agni resides in the wood, that's why you can burn it. Because when you rub it hard, you're waking up this god, Agni, fire, and it will come up in the form of a fire. Very interesting idea. But the Buddha said no such thing. There's no Agni in there. It's just the conditions. And the conditions are right. You have wood, you have fuel, you have air, and it's dry, and the fire will come out. It's not coming, it's not that the God is in there, no. It's just conditions are right. So suspended animation or suspended consciousness simply means the person is not dead, but what we see as cognitive consciousness stopped functioning. But the existential consciousness is still there. The bhavanga is still there. Not same meaning, bhavanga, life continuing. Okay? Just like when we sleep. When we are asleep, our cognitive consciousness all shut down, but the bhavanga is there. Life continuing is there. The Abhidhamma explains how it is. Now on page 48 you see a whole list of references on various suttas, how the terms are used. Right? We will just look at a few. Take number 1. For example, here Kewada, can you see that? Number one, brackets one. Here Kewada, a monk reads the mind, chitta, and mental states, the thoughts and ponderings of other beings, and other individuals. Thus, this is your mind, mano. This is how your thoughts or your meditation is. Such is your mind, chitta. Right? So here the first one says, he reads the chitta of another. So what I can read is your thoughts. Okay? And from reading your thoughts, I can begin to go deeper and say, oh, you have this kind of mind, angry mind, for example. Right? So what is possible to be read, known is methodology called thinking. And the word is chitta. So you begin to see all the other usages here. But these are all showing you the context of which words are used. The important thing to remember is all these terms are interconnected and they very often overlap. So it can be a bit tricky there. Now, okay, so once you find it is tricky there, then you go to diagram 50 or summarize for you. Right? Now look at you can see chitta, mano, vijnana, right? Can you see the square at table 12.5? Okay, chitta translated as what? As thought, isn't it? And then mano translated as mind, right? First word. And then vijnana translated as consciousness. You can add consciousness there if you like. Just put the word conscious. So look at chitta first column. Chitta is described as thought, conscious or deliberate functioning of the sense faculties. That's chitta. Alright? That's why we say we cultivate chitta, chitta bhavana. And therefore, it is the heart of human experience. This is what is important to us. Then, bottom column, the bottom row, the subject of thinking and feeling, what needs to be understood, trained and liberated. So this is what we train. You cannot change the deep part of the mind, it's very deep inside. We don't even know it's there. So when we say we practice meditation, we're dealing with the chitta. Then mano is mind, latent tendencies, karma, life continuum. We're dealing with karma. Wow, these are very deep things. We cannot change it right away. You've got to train yourself, right? These are the roots of our human emotions, right? Why you get angry, why you feel happy, this goes deeper. And this is called the mind door, the third door of action, and the sixth internal sense base, through which all the other senses operate. So this is more like operational kind of situation. Vijnana is consciousness, our intention, conscious manifestation of latent tendencies. In other words, what's deep inside us appear and make us do things. This is second level, the construction of human experience, how we see the world. And then the last row, particularizing awareness to a sense faculty. In other words, how we experience the world through our senses. So this is a summary of all that I've said. If you find the last 1 hour, you don't know a word that I've said, there you are, this diagram summarizes. Yeah? I'm not saying it's an easy thing, I already want you at the start. It's a very deep study here. Now we're coming to the closing part. Consciousness is impermanent, it can change, it can be changed. And so when we meditate, that's what we are doing. We've got to understand, number one, consciousness is changing all the time. Number two, we construct this consciousness. When we get angry, it's because the way we have constructed our mind, we have certain ideas and reality don't conform to those ideas. So we get upset, for example. So all these are we have created the mind in that way. So we have to uncreate the mind, so to speak. We have to let go of that construction. By, for example, disowning the pain. By saying, no, this is no I, no me, no mine. This is an idea we have ourselves created. Right? For example, the Buddha talks of the body. He says, it's the nature of this body to feel pain. It's the nature of this body to be attacked with sticks and stones and rods. So what is there to be upset about? I mean, this is the origin of all this philosophy of non-violence. So the Buddha tells them, the nature of the body is such. There it is, like a space here. If someone throws a stone, it's blocking the stone, bang, you get the stone, or the stick comes in and you get hit. It's the nature of the body, it's physical. So nothing to get angry about. Bear it. So the monks cannot fight back. This is an amazing idea of non-violence. The mind is changing all the time. If the mind is changing all the time, we can also direct that change. Just as irrigators direct water, we can direct the change in a positive direction. How? We are given an example on page 51, 13.1.3, how to deconstruct reality. This is false reality. We get angry. What are we angry about? Are we angry with this person? Are we angry with this person's eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind? This anger is not in the person, the anger is in us. So where's the anger? In the mind? There is just thinking. So Buddha tells Piya and Malunkyaputta, here Malunkyaputta, regarding things seen, heard, sensed and cognized or known by you, reflect in this way. In the seen there will only be the seen. In the heard there will only be the heard. In the sense there will only be the sensed. Sense means smell, taste, touch, three senses combined. In the cognized, that means the mind, there will only be the cognized. Okay, this is the theory. Now, practical explanation is like this. Let's say anger arises in you. See? Anger is an emotion. So how do you apply this teaching? You say, I don't like this guy, but that is a subjective idea. It's an idea we have constructed. What's happened here is a feeling we don't like as a reason. This, we call it anger. And that's all it is. Anger, feeling. That's it. Don't react to it. It comes, it goes, it's impermanent. So, okay, this is how anger is like, it's nasty, and I'm letting it go. That's the meaning here. Okay? Take it as it is. No more, no less. Just like a sound, Let's say you hear music out there, and you have different thoughts. At the time, people have different thoughts. One thought might think, oh, these people are so noisy. Don't you know we're studying here? And one say, wow, very nice. I like that music. Okay? And one says, oh yeah, it's very nice feeling when you have this kind of music while we study. So you have 10 different thoughts coming, depending on your nature, your karma, your mental attitude. But the meditator will just say, let's just sound. And you're not bothered by it. Okay? So this last one, you just respond with the understanding it is nothing but sound. That's what is meant by the Bahya teaching here. Then the next section talks about disowning the pain. Don't say this is mine, this I am, this is myself, then you're going to have a lot of suffering. If you say I am suffering, this person is hurting me, then you own the pain. So you tell yourself, this is pain, that's all. Not my pain, but this is suffering. Of course you can reflect, you say, if this is suffering, wow, those people are there who are deprived of food and who are suffering from the haze elsewhere, they must be suffering too. Compassion arises. Okay? So we begin to reflect in that way, then we are able to see the nature of existence and life more completely. Number one, everything is impermanent. What does that mean? Look at page 52. When you refer to impermanence, it helps you to see the mind, the true fleeting nature of life and all things, especially thoughts, ideas, and views. This helps to free us from clinging to people and things. Right? First part. Then you reflect on suffering or unsatisfactoriness. This helps us to accept suffering and failure as learning and evolving processes. So we don't see pain and suffering as that we are failures, but rather, what can we learn from this? That is, they are not so much things to fight off as to fully understand. This transmutes, at an S there, this transmutes suffering into wisdom. Right? In suffering lies wisdom. When you understand suffering, it becomes wisdom. And then non-self, the third one. Help us to understand why there is no abiding self or entity. Nothing permanent. Everything is a process, at best a state of being, not being a state. This wisdom liberates us from others, ourselves, and our views. Okay? This frees us even from being stuck to views. So everything is conditioned. Even consciousness is conditioned. So we're coming to the end now. So what is reborn then? Now the answer can be reflected by the parable of the candles, the candle parable. Imagine two candles. One, you hold one candle, it's very dark, so you have a candle in your hand. Then there's another candle which is burning. Okay? So you put the wick of the candle near the flame of the other candle. Then what happens? Your candle lights up, right? Now ask yourself this question. Did anything pass from the flame to the wick of your candle? Did anything pass over? Nothing, right? Nothing really. Of course, scientifically you can say heat, right? But in simple terms, nothing passes over. So the two wicks are like conscious moments. They pass on like a flame passing on. Right? So nothing is passed on, and yet this wick is able to light up. Okay? So our consciousness is also like that. We go on like that, life after life. Nothing seems to pass on, but this karmic energy, like the heat in the candle, it excites the atoms in the other wick and then it goes into flames. Condition. Let me just read this section again to revise. 13.3.1.2, bottom of page 54. The candle parable is helpful here. Suppose we have an unlit candle in our hand and we then place this wick near the burning flame of another candle. The wick would light up, assuming of course it has all the proper conditions for lighting up. Now, has anything been transferred from the flame of the lit candle to the wick of the first one? We can answer no, because the wick is capable of burning by itself, and the second candle does not lose anything, so to speak. We can answer yes, and say that some heat is passed over, igniting the wick. Hence, it is meaningful to answer yes and no. Both answers are correct, depending on how we look at the situation. Such an idea is common in quantum physics. So we cannot say that it is the same consciousness that passed on. We cannot say it's the same consciousness that is reborn. This is a serious wrong view which the Buddha has specifically critiqued, has said that this is wrong in the Mahatanasankaya Sutta 13.3.1.3, page 55. Okay? So remember, consciousness is conditioned. If it is conditioned, we can give it the right conditions so that we can become better people. And our last point here, section 14, and then we finish up. The after-death consciousness of an Arahat. The consciousness of an Arahat or the Buddha, when they are alive, the consciousness is still there. Right? In other words, the mental activity is there, but samkhara, as we know it, formation as we know it, which creates karma, is not there. There's only samkharo, singular. In other words, the mind is aware of what's going on and responds accordingly. There's no three roots of badness there. Okay? And when once this arahat, the Buddha, passes away, the consciousness is not established anywhere. In a sense, there is no more consciousness. The flame has not gone anywhere. So there is no more rebirth. So do read this section again in your free time, because these are not easy teachings, they're very deep. Maybe you hear this lecture again, this talk again, you might have a better understanding. So let me just read the summary and finish up the very last section, 15.2. So remember, vijnana is impermanent. This is in section 3. But provides a continuity of experience, right? Memory, mindfulness, section 4, section 9, which is often mistaken by the unawakened to be some kind of abiding entity or soul. We deal with that in section 5. We have discussed the two kinds of consciousness, cognitive and existential. This is section 6. Vijnana as subjective consciousness, that is, as consciousness of something, in section 7. Then we also discussed vijnana as a factor in the cognitive process, how we know things, section 8. And then we discussed a bit of vijnana, consciousness and karma, section 10, which we did today. And then we also looked at consciousness as evolving, growing, section 11. As transformative, in other words, can change, section 13. And as liberating, can free us from suffering also, section 14. We have also discussed various terms related to vijnana, namely kaya, mano, and chitta, section 12. And this has given us an overview of vijnana as taught in early Buddhism and as understood in modern scholarship, with the hope that such a study will be of practical help in our spiritual development. Right? Now, I'm not saying I understand everything there is to understand about consciousness, but definitely it's enough for me to understand what goes on in my mind, in my meditation, and to help us in counseling, things like that. Okay? All right, any questions? 20. Okay. Not done. Well, yes, we have another study session this last Sunday of the month, till Sunday. Yes. So we'll send out, we'll send out the flyer again.
Okay.
So coming Sunday, confirm. We have about 7 more minutes. Any questions you have to ask? Now don't worry if you say you can't remember a thing I said from the start. Just remember, consciousness is impermanent. That's the most important thing. It's impermanent. It changes. And we can also change it through that's what being a Buddhist is about. To change or to shape our consciousness. These 2 points. Consciousness is impermanent. We can change the consciousness, or we can shape it. How? When we keep the precepts, we shape the body. We train the body. We practice study. Sorry? Yeah?
Page 55. There's this thing, consciousness is dependently arising.
Yes.
Which means it cannot exist upon itself.
Yeah. Consciousness doesn't exist in itself. It's always
conditioned.
That's right. Yeah. That's another very important understanding. So there's no such thing as pure consciousness. The Brahmins believe that, there's this heavenly consciousness that watches over you. That's something. We don't believe in that.
I think that sense in the Brahminical sense that is the creator God.
Yeah, that's right. And later on, the idea evolved to all kinds of one God, no physical body. Later, it's very difficult to understand. So they make it to a different person, and then more beings. And now every village has a God. So this is a human development of human ideas.
It depends what is the
Well, out of body consciousness is the mind that still aware of what's going on around.
it doesn't have a body.
Yeah, well, the mind doesn't need a body to operate, for example, but it's not consciousness alone. See? There is karma involved, and many other things involved. So it becomes it's not pure consciousness. So for example, you have the formless realm.
What is pure consciousness?
They exist in pure mental form. So it's better to say pure mental form than pure consciousness. Less problems, you know what I mean? In other words, consciousness doesn't exist by itself. They're always conscious of something, you see? So in other words, your karma, things like that, or everything is there.
Well, karma is one of the
Karma is what keeps us going. Karma is what keeps us going. Because without karma, of course, we don't have any consciousness.
right. So karma and consciousness are interlinked.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. A simple illustration is electricity. Electricity is a form of energy. But electricity doesn't exist by itself, so to speak.
So if the consciousness is conditioned, you cannot have pure consciousness,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, in that
It
sense.
doesn't
Yeah.
exist. I mean, what is
Yeah.
pure consciousness?
Yes.
If
I mean, it would not make sense. It doesn't exist by itself. It's a condition. Yes. That's what Vicky says. Condition. But, yeah.
Another question, regarding this diagram, the words at the side there said mind meditation. Not mind includes everything. It includes
Yes.
pre-conscious, unconscious,
Yeah, correct.
conscious mind.
Yeah. So let me repeat.
Then you say using it as just refer to the
Yeah.
pre-conscious.
For example, the word body. So I say this is my body. And we as a group here, as a class, is also a body of students. You know? So you have a small specific meaning and a big meaning. So same thing. Here in the second level, mind is used in terms of the working of the mind. It's a broad language. We can be very technical, use the word meditation as because body uses. It's a big word. And so I suppose I try to avoid all this Latinism as they're called. But here is the smaller version of it, if you like. Yeah, generally we say the mind, we refer to all these three. That's what the Buddha did. You know? The Buddha does in the sutras. So you got to know the context. Right? So in a sense today we're dealing with the problem of language also. When you study Buddhism, you got to just keep your mind open. Okay, this speaker is telling all kinds of words, you know, and sometimes it's confusing. Take it like that and say, okay, what does he mean? What's he trying to say? So once you're able to understand what he's trying to say, although the words may be wrong, you still understand. You know, there's some these very good forest monks, you know, the English are not very good, they've been living in the forest a long time, and then we drag them out of the forest into the temple and then they start talking, you know. The language is very different. The English is not good. And you don't know what they're saying, you know. But you listen carefully, the ideas begin to, I don't know, percolate, as they say, into your mind. You begin to understand more clearly. Although the English is definitely not as good as mine. I could speak better, but they give you better dharma. You know? So this is, in other words, don't let language hinder your ability to understand. Reflect on it, then the answer will come to you.
Don't be so pernickety about the language.
Yeah, nitty,
Just
correct.
get
Language hinders
it does.
wisdom,
It does.
but
It's very
we can free the knowledge from the words. Okay? Right, from that note we celebrate the end of this study. Let's do a short reflection. Whenever we study the sutta to reflect on deep topics like consciousness, we are studying ourselves. We're looking at how to understand our minds better, how to understand ourselves better, with the proper vocabulary, proper words, proper systems, and so on. Ultimately, we have to let all these ideas sink into our mind so that everything fits together. So in other words, the little bits and pieces of knowledge we have accumulated over this life, or many, many lives, they begin to fit together. We never say, oh yeah, this is too difficult, we can never understand this. It's just that like a fruit, it is ripened, give it time. Wisdom is knowledge given time. Reflecting in this way, we create very good mental karma. Coming here for study, we create very good body karma. And talking Dharma, asking Dharma questions is very good, is good verbal karma. By the power of all these good deeds we have done, may our minds quickly focus, may we be at peace in this life itself. By the power of all the good deeds we have done, especially our faith in the three jewels, may we attain spiritual liberation in this stream winning in this life itself. in this peace, in this moment of inner joy, let us send out our loving kindness to all the people working hard in this temple, all the devas and all the beings in this area. May they be well, may they be happy. Let us also send our loving kindness to all our loved ones, to all those people we know. May they be well, may they be happy. And also to people whom the Dhamma have not touched, that they may come closer and open up to the Dhamma. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.